here comes the man of the hour right there.
I'll see you later.
There you go. There he is right there.
First person that I really needed on my side was Paris Moore. I couldn't have done the film without Paris.
I met him at a film showing of Spike Lee's Bamboozled. He looked familiar, so I said, hey, do I know who you are? He said, I don't think so. Then he told me he was on the Bill Cosby show. I felt kind of, silly. I thought I recognized him, and here I am, like tens of millions of other people that all say the same thing to him every day. Do I know you? Do I know you? He says, yeah, I'm on the Cosby show. So when I met him, I told him I was working on a movie.
He was there when I needed somebody, even just to believe that I could do what I was going to do. Because a lot of people just could not believe that I was going to do the film for the budget that I had and the time that I had with all the action and the adventure and the 35 millimeter. Nobody believed it except Paris.
So from that point on, we started talking. And I got much more involved in just being AD. I helped him produce it. And, we started from the very beginning of the film, putting everything together until we started shooting it, to now. It was pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy. And we just seem to work together very well. Clayton has a vision, and so do I. And I think that's why we work so well together, because it wasn't about money. It wasn't about, him just finding somebody and say, just work for me. It was about, let's look at the future. What are we trying to do here? We want to make movies. We want to make a lot of movies. And we want to make a lot of movies with African Americans. And since we share that together, then I said, hey, let's work together. Because we share a vision.
Then there was a cameraman, DP, Brendan Flint.
On the movie of Black Ninja, my job is director of photography.
How'd you meet him? Because he told me a story, but I don't believe it.
Uh-oh, what did he say?
Clay Prince and I have known each other for years. We used to do martial arts together back in Japan, like 15 years ago.
There were a few people that I could have used. Brendan, I really got along with.
Set up the next shot. I need to have a quick conference with Brendan, please.
Ooh, you're in trouble.
And I found that with this film, I really needed to deal with people who I really respected on a personal level and I liked on a personal level. Because I knew that there were going to be days that were going to be long and that there were probably going to be arguments and that we needed to know that we really liked and respected each other.
You met Clayton really in Japan doing martial arts? Is that true?
No, it's not, but we have mutual friends.
Brendan brought in the whole camera crew.
Yeah, well, he has a crew that he insisted on working with because they work really well together. And he said it would be too much of a waste of time to meet new crew members and for them to get a feel for how each other works. I said, my guys, they know me, I know them. They already know when I set my camera up in one direction, they already know what I'm going to ask for in another direction. And so a lot of the crew guys came through Brendan. Some came through Paris. Paris has some connections here in Philly. And so between the three of us.
My name is Nadine Patterson. I'm the associate producer. I met Clayton Prince through a mutual friend of ours, Paris Moore. Paris Moore is the assistant director on set, and he's also worked as the production manager and as a co-producer on the film.
Have you worked with him before?
I've worked with Paris many times, yes.
Okay. Clayton never?
First time with Clayton.
Okay, how is it going?
It's going well. It's hectic, it's crazy. People are always calling me on their walkie-talkie or calling me on the cell phone. Yes, Heather?
Yeah, do me a favor, please. Can you look on the makeup table?
Yes.
What are they?
They're capsules. I think they put blood in them so that like when an actor gets hit or something like that, they put like blood in the capsules and they like bite down on it,
Okay.
and then it oozes out of his or her mouth.
Okay.
So it's a really cool kind of effect. Let's go downstairs, okay?
But have you worked on other films before?
This is my first time working on a feature film, but I've worked for 12 years as an independent documentary filmmaker. I have projects in development, and I'm going the wrong way. I have projects in development right now, so I have an idea for my own feature film, and I have an idea for my next documentary film project.
What did you make documentaries about?
People of color, arts and education, young people. I work a lot with young people. helping them to produce their own work. Community activists at a place called Scribe Video Center.
What do you think of the script of this movie, or what it's becoming on the set?
Well, all I can say is that it has a lot of traditional Hollywood elements in it, but then because of the way some of the casting has gone, I think there's a lot of non-traditional casting, which I like. And it's always good to have a multicultural cast and crew, which is very, very unusual in the business. So I like that a lot. There you go. 6 capsules.
I did want to have a multiracial cast. I didn't want it to be all black. I didn't want it to be all white. I didn't want it to be multiracial.
Yeah, multicultural.
Multicultural.
Is very unusual in this business.
You've never seen this before?
Except when I work with on my own projects.
Mm-hmm.
But it's rare. I mean, it happens, but it's rare.
For me, race totally was not a factor in this story.
Okay.
It wasn't a factor for... I'm trying to think if there was one cast member that race had to be a factor for. Probably, if I had to pick one person, I would say, well, two people. Two people, race was a factor. One was Yuki, who played the Red Ninja.
And action! No! You, pathetic, weak, excuse foreigner!
There was no, racial thing with him being the Red Ninja. It was just a color that we picked, just like the Black Ninja. It's not because I'm black, it's because it was just a cool costume. It was just, and we just, think of ninjas, we think of them wearing black, and so we're like, okay, cool, Black Ninja. Yuki and Jackie Oda, I wanted them to be Asian, because I just wanted I wanted everyone to be represented.
Right.
Let's see, there was Tony Finelli.
What's her name? What do you do in the movie?
Nicky DiMatteo, and I play the role of Finelli, Tony Finelli. He's a crime boss.
Was that a coincidence that he was Italian-American for the mafia boss?
I didn't need him to be, per se, an Italian-American, but he was an Italian-American, but he was the best.
My primary, the way I make my living is I'm a singer and a piano man. I work with an electronic drummer, a keyboard, and I work alone, and I just sing and try to create a party for the people and bring people up to sing with me. And I do enjoy singing in different languages. Je ne parle pas très bien le français, mais pour vous, j'essaie de chanter une de belles compositions de Chartrenet.
Très bien.
Not bad
Very good.
for a guy from South Philly.
Uh-huh. Are you Italian-American originally?
My father, all of my grandparents were born in Italy.
Okay.
All of my wife's grandparents were born in Hungary.
Okay.
I was the first of a family of 10 to marry a non-Italian. Dad was born in Italy in 1897. When he found out I was going to marry Julie, he said, "Hey, Nick, how come you can't find a nice Italian girl?" I said, "But Dad, I love her." He said, "Oh, what's a love?" The old school, you married within your ethnic group. And she turned out to be his favorite daughter-in-law.
You knew when you wrote the script that you would play Black Ninja?
Yeah.
I don't think it's really a stereotypical type of casting, aside from the Italian mob boss. But and then, well, yeah, I guess it is because you got the Italian mob boss, you got the Asian ninja. I don't know, but it goes along with the storyline. It's not like he's it's not necessarily stereotyping because he's not making fun of or poking fun of or talking down on the people. So
We never had any Italian jokes or Asian jokes or black jokes in the film at all.
it's not like he has a whole bunch of Italians eating spaghetti.
Nicky DiMatteo did a brilliant job.
Half speed.
So you're the Black Ninja.
Anyone that wants to say anything negative about Nicky's portrayal, in my opinion, that shows their small-mindedness.
Don't ever. What is it?
You read the script?
I didn't. I read the Red Ninja.
Read it. Just take it right the Red Ninja script.
I'm sorry.
I think Nicky did a great job and has absolutely nothing to feel strange about.
It's not like he has a whole bunch of black people eating chicken, collard greens, wearing do-rags, and eating Aunt Jemima syrup or something like that.
if people want to criticize Yuki's performance, Yuki is Japanese. I mean, the way that he speaks in the film, that's not him putting on an accent. That is Yuki speaking.
And
Yes.
Clayton is not happy about that you guys call me this film, black film.
It's a weird and sad thing that whenever there is a black figurehead in any department, it is suddenly called a black film.
Yeah, because it's just filmmaking. It's, in this
Yeah.
country, it's the sad thing about the history of racism in this country is that,
And you know, this film is have any kind of racism.
One of the biggest things that a lot of the actors themselves came to me, said this is the first time in a long time that there were people of so many different races with equal size roles.
John and Nikki are up in the lawyer's office.
just because there's a black man directing it doesn't make it a black film.
It's funny, a lot of people might call this film a black film. And there are really only 3 or 4 black actors in the entire film. So, I mean, technically, you could say that the black actors are actually outnumbered by the other ethnicities of the film. I can't even say the word. That's like a Freudian thing.
And unfortunately, what happens in this country, and again, it goes back to racism in this country, anything that has to do with African American people automatically becomes a black this, that, or the other. That carries such a stigma with it.
As long as no one's saying it in a negative way, fine. As long as no one's saying that it must be of poor or lesser quality because it's a black film, fine. But if that's what that individual is saying in his brain when he says it's a black film, yeah, I have some real issues with that.
It should not be about the color of the person who's making the project.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be about the project and the story and, you know, the character. If George Lucas is doing a thing, that's not called a white film. It's a film.
That is itself become its own genre, black films. You know, its own, you know, there's action adventure films, there's comedies, and there's black. That's cool, you know. I just want the film to be viewed and respected and watched.
We come from a history of having spokespersons, but nobody can speak for a whole group of people.
I'm proud of the story because I felt a need for there to be a clean and articulate and intelligent but respectable black figure in the media, because there really aren't too many right now. There are a lot of people who think they are, but they're not.
Outside of this country, people only have what the media presents to them to go by, unless they're fortunate like you to come here and to meet people.
A lot of people think that they're, you know, being proud, keeping it real, whatever that, yeah. And it's funny. There are a lot of people, I won't get into names, that I know personally.
Wow, this is a nice shirt. So soft.
Who present this really harsh, I'll even use the word negative, black stereotype as their public persona, but behind closed doors with their family, they are so exactly the opposite.
I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
And that upsets me because that hardcore persona that they put on for work, that influences the way that other kids grow up. They actually see that hardcore persona as a role model, not just here in this country, but throughout the world. And that's so wrong. That's a sellout to me. You've sold yourself out to portray an image that you yourself are not, but you're doing it so you can make money.
I mean, the bottom line in filmmaking comes down to money. And if you have money, you can make a film. If you don't have money, you can't make a film. If you have more money, you can make the film the way you want to make it. If you don't, you have to make compromises. Your color has nothing to do with that.
But like before, you were saying that Clayton did this film because he thought he could do it himself, and he couldn't find somebody who was interested, and that if nobody gives you the roles you want, then you will just make your own film. And I mean, Does that have anything to do with race, or is this just because you just can't find the people to do it, so you're going to do it yourself?
Well, I think I can't speak for anybody else. All I know is that nobody seems to be writing the kind of stories that characters that I would play. It's very rare that I see a character on TV or in the movies, and I'm like, that's me. That is me. She's like right from my heart. She's speaking what I think and how I feel. She's making the kind of choices that I would make. It's very rare that I see a character like that. Not to say that I haven't, but I could probably count on one hand in my lifetime.
There's a need to have a positive role model. Someone who's educated, who's articulate, but not soft. Someone who can handle business in any form that it comes to, be it physical, be it intellectual, be it anything.
So, could you like give me one of those characters that you thought were like you?
Okay, recently there was this piece that Wesley Snipes, I think he produced it. He was in it, and it was made for television movie. It was a good story, and it was about a woman who was a singer, actually.
Those birds, they fly over rainbows, and why can't I?
Did you see that movie that was not on, it was on TV not too long ago with Wesley Snipes?
Oh, with Terry, that movie. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And I don't remember.
Disappearing Acts. Was it Disappearing Acts? Yeah.
And that was like something I thought, oh, okay. See, I would have enjoyed playing a role like that.
Was it the role of a black woman?
Yeah,
Okay.
she, it's just a woman who is pursuing her dreams, and she falls in love with this man who's not in her in the same line of work that she is, and how she made compromises for the sake of love. But I thought it was a beautifully told story, and the characters were very real and very believable. The situation was very real and very believable. If you were to just look at movies, you would think, I mean, look at Woody Allen's movies. He never has a black person in his movie. But in his world, in his own personal world, he probably doesn't have any black
for
people.
wardrobe and makeup on set.
Okay. He probably doesn't have any black people in his own personal life, in his own personal world. So when he writes stories, he doesn't see black people in it.
And he lives in New York.
And that's incredible. How can you be in New York and not see black people? All right, I'm going to run. I want you to put a little bit more of this on, and I'll be back.
What do you think of it? What is it?
Why did she put this on you?
I don't know.
So, tell me what your name is.
Hameen Zaki Nuruddin.
That's an interesting name.
Yes, it's Islamic name.
Okay. Are you Muslim?
A practicing Muslim.
So did you change your name, or did your parents give you that name because they were also Muslims?
My parents were not Muslims. I changed my slave name to a Islamic name.
Okay.
My name prior to adopting my name was name handed down, of course, from the slave owners. You know, no one from West Africa would be a Jones. So I took on an Islamic name to reflect, my newfound religion.
And so they used you in the film?
Yes, they did. Yeah, they needed a thug, so I guess I made for a good thug.
Okay. Did they tell you about the script?
They told me about it as I was about to do it. Yes, it doesn't take much to be a thug. There's no dialogue.
And you weren't worried about what the movie was about. You weren't worried about contributing to something maybe you wouldn't agree with.
Oh well, I was aware it was the Black Ninja. I may not have been fully aware of the total script, but I knew it was something about a vigilante lawyer, who takes care of things at night and practice law by day. So I didn't think it was anything clandestine or something I wouldn't be able to do.
Okay.
Morally.
Do you know Clayton Prince, like, as an actor, or?
I'm somewhat familiar with his credits, that being on the Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
He has some other credit that he since told me about. Having two jobs, I don't get to watch TV often, but I think about every African American family swimming with the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
The way it looks like so far, it really comes off like a really nice television pilot more than a film. And I think that's because my background is so much in television. I've only done a few films. I was in, of course, Hairspray, where I was Seaweed in Hairspray, and Hanging with the Homeboys, The Last Dragon. But most of my stuff has been really, my bread and butter has been television. I make, let's see, The Cosby Show.
And had you seen Clayton before on TV?
Cosby Show.
Yeah, it, man. It.
I'm the only one who didn't see that.
When I first saw him, I recognized his face immediately. I guess he just played a memorable character in that Cosby Show and whatnot.
He was on the Cosby Show. I wasn't sure what episode until Paris told me.
It's like a classic episode.
He was Denise's boyfriend, who was really into reggae and would do the "Hey man, I say you go down" and all that. And I remembered him then.
I was on the soap opera Another World for 2 years. Called Dark Justice on CBS. So my training has been so much in TV. I think subconsciously I was doing a lot of TV-esque things while shooting.
Other than that, it's cool, to get to meet and to know other people who have taken part in various films that I'm familiar with. Particularly the young lady who's Dr. Tracy Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Myself and my children are familiar with her from her movie with the 5 Heartbeats,
Mm-hmm.
As well as another young fellow, I forget his name.
Now, what we have here are rumors and allegations attacking his moral fiber.
Who also starred in that movie. So it was nice, telling my kids about it. They're pretty excited about it.
Have you known Clayton for a long time?
Long, at least 10 years. He's in a younger age bracket, and invariably all working black actors that have had some success in the business all kind of know each other. And he's done very well. Very well. I ran into him in the casting office as soon as I arrived here in Philadelphia. And then I read the script. At one point he said, "John, you got to be in this film." I'm like, "Well, y'all ain't got too much money, number one." But it's the way he broached it. He said, "John, just pick a role. What role do you want?" Plus, as leading lady, I did one of the best films I was ever in, The 5 Heartbeats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck with that film. If I were to never do a film again, people would still call me Flash. I'd just be old Flash. I'm old Flash now. But, I'm just stuck with that. So, within the black experience, i.e., some films just are memorable.
I am, I guess you're African Canadian, so to speak.
Carla is part Indian, like me.
My people are from my father's side. They came through they were the loyalists, remained loyal to the British Crown in the American Revolution. So these were freed, well, not when you say freed, they weren't enslaved, blacks, but, they were like indentured servants, so to speak. In any event, they were told if they fought on the side of the British that they would be allowed to get land in Nova Scotia. So that's how they ended up getting up Nova Scotia. And then my mother's side, she's Irish and Scottish, and so her folks migrated from over Europe over to Prince Edward Island. My father's people also came to the Freedom Train too, so we're slaves escaping. I've done roles that are, definitely have to do with, I wouldn't say tragic mulattoes, but definitely where that's an aspect of it where my color does come into play.
I'm an actor at heart. I started off as an actor, but the opportunities for, light-skinned African Americans are so low. It's like, look, if I want to be in movies, I guess I have to make them.
One of the things that's interesting about black people, we cover the full spectrum of color.
Mm-hmm.
They want a black man. When you think of an African American, you see that chocolate brother.
For years, it worked against me with my career. They didn't know how to cast me.
You don't really see a light-skinned man. People say, "Are you Hispanic? Are you black? Are you Egyptian?"
Arabs,
Mm-hmm.
people from Egypt,
Puerto Rican, Mexican. What are you?
Saudi Arabia, Sudan, parts of the Sudan.
They don't want that. They want you to know that's a black man.
And could you be cast as a Latino or white person?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what helps me as an actor because of my ethnicity and like you can't really tell what I am and my nationality is. So it helps me. I could play Latin role, white, black, anything.
Pakistani stopped me in the street and embraced me like her brother. So it's like, no, guess what? We're the majority in the world. So, no, I fit right in with the black diaspora.
You look at all the leading African American actors, they're all very dark.
Carla and Heather are both
females.
My name is Heather Hunter, and I play the ex-wife that gets killed.
Was that fun?
Well, you know, I didn't remember it, but the flashbacks were pretty gruesome, so.
Women are beautiful. If you're beautiful as a woman, you can do anything.
I mean, there's not a lot of great opportunities that come along, and especially for women of color.
Now with women. Before, African American women had to be light.
Yeah, I've been told a lot of times I'm too light, you know, and I mean, it's business. That's just the way it is, but, you know, it's like I've been told you're not black enough.
Everything is a formula, and it's not a black and white formula. It's a business formula, and there is a successful formula where you have the hero who's usually a white man, you know, who's the dashing, handsome guy, and the white guy will have a black best friend who helps him do other crimes, you know, i.e. Lethal Weapon, i.e. Dark Justice, my own TV show, i.e. A lot of things, a lot of, you know, it's like the sidekick, the friend.
I think the casting will be a strength of the film, and I think he'll get a lot of credit for working with local talent, for enabling people like myself and Paris, and Heather, and Jerry, who is the wardrobe artist, and Kat, who's the makeup artist, you know, a chance to really shine in a local production.
My name is Heather Gillespie, and I was second assistant director. I met Paris, who was the first assistant director, on a movie called The Scale. It was definitely one of the most cultural experiences in film, and probably one of the best because it was so diverse.
Because Nadine said that that's very rare in the business. She said it never happened to her unless on her own projects.
Right, unless someone has a goal to make it that diverse, yes. That normally never happens. Film crews that I end up working on are largely white, and there's not many differences in culture at all. And I hope that when I fund and do my own movie, I want to make it as diverse as possible because of the atmosphere it creates, and because you get so many more different perspectives on a situation. And for anybody working on it, it's just a whole different feel. But after working on Black Ninja, and then working on a project after that, I can see how unusual a situation Black Ninja was, and it shouldn't be. It absolutely shouldn't be, and it is anyway. And now I view things with different eyes. I see things that I didn't see before, and it frustrates me. But if the majority isn't that diverse.
Why is he all? He's taking my camera space right now.
Oh, go ahead, please, it's on.
No, come on. I was just explaining that I have to escort him, you know, a certain way, so that it'll be more realistic.
I like that shit. Escort me. Where's your baton? Beat me, baby.
I'm looking for the handcuffs.
Yo, I swear to God, the one line we're gonna remember in this movie is, "Are you black and you want some?" That's the one line you're gonna remember the whole movie. When this movie comes out. Because then it's like the classic, like, I have the script in my apartment. My roommates mixed it up last night. And all of a sudden I hear them laughing. And I'm like, what are you guys? And they read the script. I was like, where are you guys? He's like, you want any black in you? I was like, oh, it's the one line they all started cracking up over.
Do you usually work on films that have a lot of African Americans involved in it?
No. Most of the films I've worked on were not by African Americans. I've done a lot of work on films, just regular films, either being a PA, office assistant, or whatever. So I've done a lot of work on films usually by Europeans. So now when it comes to documentaries, yes. When I work on documentaries and video, yes. But film, no.
Why not? Because
I think because people with money to make films usually aren't black, you know?
Okay.
But I think it's hard for any person of color to do a 35 millimeter low budget feature because people think that, well, if I can't do it, if you're a European American, if I can't get the financing and get the backing for a low budget feature for like $40,000 to $50,000, how could they possibly do it?
Oh, we have some investors who invest part into the film, but I think Clayton is basically paying the lion's share.
I mean, you know, I think a lot of people have the opportunity, the time, and the opportunity to spend money on a film. I think African Americans don't have that luxury of spending all that money. But when they do, it's really a great thing to see. And if I have a skill and I can help in any way, I will. That's what I see. That's what I think I'm doing right now, is trying to help get this film in the can. I'm a freelancer, which means I basically hustle for jobs. I do loading, I do sound. That's what people know me as a sound person. I do, and I load. I think that culture comes into play. Culture, you hear the jokes that you've heard. Maybe it's because I'm African American, but you hear the jokes that you heard when you were a kid. You understand when somebody says brother. You feel what they're talking about. You know, you have all those things going in a white film crew, but you know, there's just sometimes, man, it can get a little bit stark shirt, you know. I don't have to put up blind about who I am. You know, all my skills, you know. I just do my skills and people really appreciate it. They appreciate it as much as I appreciate them doing what they do, because they're African Americans. I mean, Clayton to me was somebody I saw on television. And I used to watch the series that he was on. And I used to always wonder, I used to look at, who's that brother? You know? And I really admired him. I really admired that there was a brother doing that quality of work. And to meet him, you know, was really amazing. You know, just the same face you saw on Channel 2 in New York. You know, when I was, you know, a few years ago, it was like the same face. I'm like, oh shit, there he is. And he's doing a film, and that's wonderful, man. It's a wonderful thing. A lot of music videos, black music videos, you know, they call them. There's a difference. Black music videos are usually less money, $50,000. White music videos are usually $100,000 to $300,000. You know, this is what we deal with. Excuse me, I gotta run this mag in.
What's the budget of the film?
Well, I'm not really at liberty to say.
We did this film. I'm not going to say for how much, but we did the film in 2 weeks and 1 day, a total of 13 days, and that's incredible.
I really can't say what the real amount is because we want to have that flexibility to market it any way we want to. So if we want to market it as $1 million movie, with a small budget, we can. Or we want to market it as a little teeny movie that made $1 million, we can.
Okay.
So by putting it out there, you know, it kind of steals our marketing edge.
Is that what everybody does?
Yes.
Okay, so we never know what the budget
No,
is.
they lie. They always lie. But
All right.
but that's how you market it. You either say, this movie over budget, about $1 billion. Everybody goes to watch it because when they see, what in the world did they spend all this money on? Then they'll say, this is the movie that they made for $10. It's fantastic. Everybody watches that because it's made by $10.
Okay.
It's all marketing. It's all lying.
All right.
So we want the opportunity to lie about our film the way we want to.
Working here in Philadelphia, we've gotten a lot of support from the Greater Philadelphia Film Office.
If you're in a place where everybody is excited about the idea of shooting a movie, then you have the police that stop traffic for you.
So they've gotten us parking clearances for shooting in Fairmount Park.
Then it's cheaper and easier, of course, because it's cheaper because it's free. So that's nice for somebody making their own project with their own money. You got to save every penny because every nickel goes out the window fast. Nickels go out faster than pennies. So
First day of shooting, nobody knew this, but In one of the fight scenes with me on the porch, Ramel lands on his feet and I land in a crash position. I broke my foot and I didn't tell anybody because that was the first day of shooting and I would have had to stop production and I couldn't even afford to stop production.
So you jumped on one foot through the whole scene?
Oh yeah, actually what I did was I changed the choreography for some of the fights. Where if you notice, I'm only standing on my left leg and I'm just throwing the kicks with my right. So, because I couldn't hold my weight on my right foot, so I was just kicking everyone, and so I did like double kicks with my right foot, just so I wouldn't have to stand on my right foot.
Would you shoot again in Philadelphia?
I would love to shoot again in Philadelphia.
Are there locations in the films that are somehow personal to you?
All of the locations are personal to me because I grew up in Philly, so I know Philly like the back of my hand, and there are a lot of locations that we used for almost nothing because everybody kind of knew me. We used the house that I grew up in as one of the major locations. We used my old high school as one of the locations. There was a lot. The mansion it's a mansion that was in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I used to always walk past it going to school. And actually, we used some of the people who lived there in the film. The person that plays the judge and one of the security guards. They were.
The judge is the owner of the house?
Yeah.
It's, on occasion, difficult to organize a low-budget film with personnel problems, so you can encounter impediments, roadblocks, and bottlenecks. We've been making our schedule so far, a little bit of losing some sleep, though.
There's about 2 or 3 scenes. It's kind of hard to make dynamic by changing the shots. Some of the shots were a little rushed because of time. Sometimes they were rushed, so they had to just get one shot. So, I mean, that's the biggest problem that I ran into so far.
This is the theme of the very popular group Public Enemy. When Chucky D says, I testified, my mama cried, black people died when the other man lied. And that's a very sort of prominent theme, you know, that there's no justice. Except, no, see, in America, justice means just us white folks.
George, they're calling you. London.
ダメよ。ごめんなさい。はい、ガマさん。問題ない。ちょっと待って。
届けておくれ私のラララララララララララララララララララララ La 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 la. Clayton he's very good. I think so.
You have to say for the camera what his hobbies are.
Hi, my name is Hagiwara Shinji. My hobby is murder. I'm 19 years old. No, I'm 38 years old.
No, yes. Yuki is 19 years old.
What school do you go to?
In a language school in New York City. Pronounce? G.
G.
First audition, first movie, in America.
Hagiwara.
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 Hagiwara. Hagiwara.
Hagiwara.
Yes! I have to study English more and more to be an actor, you know.
Jeff Page, P-A-G-E. I'm the owner of AJP Weapons, FX. And I started in the business with the guns. At the same time, I audition for parts. If I get them, fine. If I don't, I still have the weapons.
Before that, I didn't know anything about American, acting system.
I got a part #1 hitman. I auditioned against SAG and non-SAG actors, and I got it.
Because there's a lot of talented non-union actors out there, including myself, if I must say so myself. After this, I have to get in union.
And this is a credit towards to get in the SAG union. In fact, after this movie, I will be in the union. Parents, do it up. Hold like this.
Oh yeah, that's a Star Trek.
Black Ninja was non-union, which is another more comfortable feel than a unionized show.
Why?
Because everyone is very cliquey, I guess I want to say. When it's union, when it's non-union, since everybody's helping in the really very loose departments, you don't feel those boundaries at all. When it's unionized, people stick within their department more. Like at lunch, people will stick in their department and eat lunch together. When it's non-union, everyone mixes up.
Generally, it's harder for black people to get into a union and just to even know about a union. So that's where the advantage of somebody like Clayton doing this film benefits people like me, because I'm just starting out as an actor. I'm non-union, and he's looking for non-union actors to give people a chance.
But nobody told me how to do it, and I don't think anybody wanted to tell me how to do it. Except one man, white gentleman, showed me how to work a Nagra, and I did. And he did it for nothing. He said, "Do you want to know how to do it?" Because I was a good worker. He said, "Do you want to know how to do this?" I said, "Yeah, show him how to do it." I passed that on. If somebody wants to do the clapper, I will show them how to do it. That's how I learned. This is not a business of exclusivity. Is that the word? You gotta include. You gotta show these people. You gotta show brothers and sisters and people how to do the job.
Again, I think it's a union, non-union issue. Again, if it was union, you really don't have control very much over who you're going to hire. It's whoever's available, and there's only a set amount of union people.
Like I worked on all black crews. I've worked on all white crews. I think the African American director wants a good crew. That's just what it is. But I think also there are white directors that want an all white crew. I think there are things that might, and there are African directors that want all black crews. It's just what it is. But I think every director wants a good crew.
And do you think unions are not very diverse, which is maybe that's why the industry's not?
That's correct.
And so how come?
How come? Because to be in a union, you have to have a certain number of days in on working on movies, and if you're not hired for enough of those projects, then it's going to take you longer to get the amount of days to apply to the union, which leaves you way far behind everybody else.
African Americans don't have the opportunity to touch film, to touch the buttons on a Nagra, on a sound machine, to hit the slate. They don't have that opportunity, so there's not a lot of positions that African Americans fill on a film set right now. Well, right now, that's the only way you can learn about film, is by knowing somebody who says there's a film coming up.
How did you learn about the film?
Nadine's my cousin.
And then the FX guy.
My name is Mike Minatoli, and I am the stunt coordinator for Black Ninja.
I brought him.
And I work with the weapons guy, Jeff Page.
Okay.
He deals with the guns and all that good stuff, because I don't like dealing with guns.
Did you work with Clayton before?
No, it's the first time I worked with Clayton.
How do you like it?
I like it a lot. He's very, it's pretty laid back. It's a pretty laid back set, easy to work for as compared to some other people I've worked for in the past. You know what I mean?
The cinematographer, Brendan Flint's a very good friend of mine. We've worked together in many movies before, and he was asked, a weapons guy, and he gave him my name right away.
I hardly show my resume anymore, because it really doesn't matter. As long as so-and-so says I'm a good person, I'm a good worker, that's enough. They don't really care what I've done before that. So, it is all about who you know.
Okay, well, my name is Tony, and I've had the privilege of answering the phone. This is Anthony. May I help you? Okay, I've had the privilege of being chef for the set, and it's been really fun because I get a chance to talk to everybody and see everybody, and I get a feel for what the set needs and
prepare food based on what I know is going to happen.
I didn't hear that you get paid very much to do this.
Yeah, I get paid a lot of attention.
You got paid to work on the Black Ninja?
Yes. Up front, all of it, which never ever happens. That is the first time that has ever happened. He wrote me a check my first day, and he said that he had a good feeling about me and heard about me and was confident that I'd show up for the rest of the movie, considering he paid me for the entire movie first day. So.
Do you know if everybody else got paid?
I only found out after we had wrapped that most people were not paid. I believe the camera department was paid, sound was paid, SAG actors I'm sure were paid the minimum allowed.
However, I'm still having fun on it, and considering that I'm not really getting paid for it, that's pretty important.
And me, and everybody else didn't. And I didn't know that. And apparently Nadine and Paris really went to bat for me and tried to get me paid, and I didn't know any of this until way afterwards, and I'm indebted to them for doing that.
We've had everything from we've had baked fish, we've had fried fish, black eyed peas, rice, fried chicken, pizza, and then we had pizza, and then we had pizza, and today we have barbecued vegetarian beans and beef hot dogs for the final day. We've had spaghetti, and we've had lemonade. They love the lemonade, and all kinds of cakes and fruit. It's a lot of stuff, you know.
I know that they're wrapping up tonight, and I've already, don't let them know this, but we've already decided amongst ourselves that if they needed another half hour or so, we would do it. But we don't want them to know. We want them to believe that the time we say is the time we say. But knowing that they're wrapping up, knowing this is the very last night of shooting, you know, between us, we would give them that time.
How do you know Clayton?
He's my brother-in-law. He's married. He's my wife's brother, so he's my brother, and I love him. So when he told me he was going to do this project, it was kind of ironic because I told him I would cook one night, and we talked about it, and we determined that I only wanted to cook one night. He thought I meant every night, and we laughed, and I told him, oh, no, I can't do it every night. This is my last night of doing it every night. So he didn't ask me to do it, just kind of fell that way. I think the first night we did spaghetti, and everybody fell so much in love with it that I just got kind of hooked. And I've just fit it into my schedule every day.
Is there anything else you want to say?
This is will possibly be aired in France.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say to all the Muslimin and Muslimat, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Might even sing a little, you know.
Tenimoce così, anima e cuore, non c'è amore, manco per noi. Sto desiderio e te mi fa parlare, camba con te, sempre con te, per non morire. Perché dici ma fa parole amare? Se io bene può campare con un respiro, si smanie pure tu per chi sta amore. Tenniamoci così, anima e cuore. Le ciel bleu je ne peux s'écouler. Et la terre peut bien s'effondrer. Peu m'importe si tu m'aimes. Je me moque du monde entier. Tant l'amour inondera mes matins. Que mon corps frémira sous tes mains. Peu m'importe le grand problème, mon amour, puisque tu m'aimes. Jusqu'au bout du monde, je me faire atteindre blond, si tu me l'as demandé. On peut bien rire de moi, je ferai n'importe quoi, si tu me le demandais. nous aurons pour nous l'éternité. Dans le bleu de toute l'immensité, dans le ciel bleu des problèmes, Dieu va unir ceux qui s'aiment.